Communism experienced extreme political turmoil in 1989. Talking about this on this app is probably going to have that happen. Like and share, we'll see if this is true. But we can learn lessons from this period in history to see why this clock app may soon meet its end in the United States. In the summer of that year, Poland voted in their first elected parliament since the Second World War, resoundingly beating the incumbent communist parties. And then on November 9th, the Berlin Wall fell. And then on Christmas Day, the Romanian dictator and friend of China, Nicolae Ceausescu, and his wife were publicly executed. Now, one reason why this is of note is because Ceausescu was the only Eastern European leader to openly fire on unarmed civilians. Now, on the exact same day as the Polish election, a months-long student movement came to a violent end here. At times, there were more than 1 million people in this public space, and even more in the streets around the capital city blocking military vehicles. Now, ironically, it was the move towards more openness that Deng Xiaoping, the successor of Mao, allowed more Western reporters into the country. These reporters then relate the movement to the rest of the world, which gained global sympathy for those protesting for open democracy and freedom. So, a really important question to understand our current world over 3 decades later. Why did Eastern Europe and the USSR collapse while this country's party remained in power? I just finished this really excellent biography, and the author, Ezra Vogel, gives 2 reasons. 1. Continued economic openness and market-fueled growth. The standard of living kept growing astronomically. And then 2, effective, powerful political propaganda. The United States and other nations imposed sanctions and stopped assisting this country in security efforts, stopped selling them weapons, stopped maintaining existing weapons. Yet, President Bush wanted to continue their relationship and work through it. He sent a handwritten letter a few weeks after the event. I write you asking your help in preserving this relationship. I ask you to remember the principles on which my young country was founded: democracy and freedom. It is not a reaction of arrogance or a desire to force others to our beliefs, but of a simple faith in the enduring value of those principles and their universal applicability. All these years later, you still can't talk about the event today. And to prevent a younger generation from being persuaded by the ideals of freedom and democracy, a public propaganda campaign began. To quote the biographer, foreign criticisms of the country about certain minority groups was presented to the Chinese public as part of an organized effort by foreign powers to weaken that country. The support for certain territories were also offered up to the public as an example of efforts to keep this country down. Students who had been shouting slogans against the government for not granting more democracy and freedom now began shouting slogans against foreigners who they felt were unfairly criticizing. So now on to the more difficult question today. This app practices censorship and the promotion of certain ideas. The owners do not believe in freedom nor democracy and have murdered throngs of civilians in order to maintain that in the face of peaceful opposition. Propaganda is effective, and pretending it doesn't is foolish. Now, given all that, we gotta jump to the options on the table. I'm definitely not happy with where things are going. My preferred solution to bad speech is more speech, more competition of ideas, more app choices, more communities. In other words, given the contours of where we're at, a forced buyout to a third party would be far better than what we're getting. I'm definitely not saying sufficient free speech exists on other apps. I mean, look at Musk. Explicitly bans speech he disagrees with. Here's one example. Here's another. Pause if you want to read the details. But considering that the owner is not willing to make $50 to $100 billion sale from the buyout, they're not interested in the money. They're in it for the propaganda power. Wait, what? What? Nope. Nope, 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 nope.